everybody, welcome back. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Today we're on lesson 3 of the 20-part series going from beginner to intermediate fundamentals of guitar. And we've talked about guitar anatomy, the different parts of the guitar. We talked about tuning in the second lesson, how to tune your guitar. Now we're going to get into open chords, all right? And these are the basic chords that beginners start out with. All right, so we're going to start out with some of these chords aren't in this key. Later on, I'll get to that, which chords go in which key and how to learn them together. But just to get you playing some chords and getting your fingers working, this is what I like to start with. So these are the open chords, not bar chords, not inverted chords. These are just the traditional country chords, folk guitar, that kind of stuff. So start out with a G major. What you can do is take your middle finger, you'll put on a 3rd fret of the low E string. You put your index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. And then you take your ring finger and put that down on the 3rd fret of the high E string. And the rest of the strings, don't bump them. They're going to be played open. And you play all 6 strings. And that's a G major chord. Okay? The next open chord is the C major. And it sounds like this. And what you're going to do is take your ring finger, 3rd fret of the A. You take your middle finger, put on the 2nd fret of the D string, and then your index finger will be the 1st fret of the B string, all right? And that little high E string, make sure you're not bumping it with this finger. You gotta kind of keep your fingers angled and all up off the rest, and you're gonna strum everything but that low E. You don't strum the low E. Not at this time anyways. You're gonna strum everything else, though, starting with that A string down. And that's a C major chord, all right? So you have your G major, and your C major. And those are actually in the same key, so you can actually play them together. They're nice. All right, the next open chord is a D major. It's not in those keys, but it's a good open chord to know. All right, so you're gonna take your index finger, you're gonna go 2nd fret of the G string. You're gonna take your ring finger, put it on the 3rd fret of the B string, and then your middle finger will go on the 2nd fret of the high E. It's like a little upside down triangle when you visualize it, not upside down. It's an upside down triangle. You got the point down here. So 2nd fret, index finger, 2nd fret of the G, ring finger, 3rd fret of the B, and then middle finger, 2nd fret of that high E. And you're gonna strum the bottom 4 strings, starting with that D string. That D string is the root. Try not to hit that low A. You can. There's another name for that, but that's not part of the D chord. It's just the bottom 4 strings. And it takes a little practice not hitting the other strings. This is all beginner stuff, so it's going to take time. You're going to bump some. You might bump another string with a finger, and like that ring finger, sometimes will bump that high E. You want to make sure you keep it up so they're not bumping any other strings. All right, that's your D major chord. All right. The next open chord is an E major. And what you're going to have is the middle finger, 2nd fret of that A string. You're going to take your ring finger, put on the 2nd fret of the D string right behind it. And then your index pointer finger on the 1st fret of that G string. And you're going to strum everything, all of them. That's an E major. Okay? The next one's an E minor. The nice part about that is exact same pattern. Just take your index finger off. So you've got your middle finger, 2nd fret of the A, and your ring finger, 2nd fret of the D. And then you strum all of them, even the low E. That's the E minor. The index finger goes back on to that 1st fret of the G. It's an E major. Bright, happy. Take that off. You got that minor 3rd in there. It's a sadder kind of sound, okay? That's an E minor. All right, let's go to the A major. What you're going to do is, this one's a little trickier. You're going to take your middle finger and put it on the 2nd fret of that D string. And you're going to take your ring finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the G string, right next to it. And you take your little finger, your baby finger, whatever you call it, on the second fret of the B string. So they're all on the second fret. They're all squished in there together. And it's kind of like a little angle you'll see, but they all fit. I put the middle one closer to the top, middle, a ring finger right in the middle, and then the little one down here towards this fret. So they're kind of angled, but they all fit in that box, okay? You're going to strum everything, even that open high E. So you don't want to bump with your little finger. That's very common to hit that. You don't want to hit it. But what you're going to do is strum everything except for the low E. Don't touch that one. Start with that A string and strum them all. It's going to take a lot of strength to push them down, especially that little finger. It's going to hurt, and it's going to take a while to get used to it, but that's how you play that A major. Now you can also use your other three fingers and not use your little finger. You can use your index, middle, and ring and do the same thing. If you have fatter fingers, it's a tight squeeze. Then it leaves your pinky available for different things, but we're not going to get that right now. So you can do it either way. I play it like this, but you can also play it like that. And then it's the second fret of that D, the G, and the B string. And then you strum everything but that low E. That's your A major, all right? A minor is similar. You'll put your middle finger on that second fret of the D, ring finger, second fret of the G. You're going to take your index finger and put it on the first fret of the B. It looks like that E major, everything's just slid down. Instead of this, you just slide everything down to here, okay? Strum all the strings but the low E, so you start on the A string. It's an A minor, okay? You might recognize it, the House of the Rising Sun. That's that A minor. Nice sad song. All right, and the last open chord we're going to talk about is the F major, all right? And I don't typically play it this way, but this is how it's taught. This is how a lot of players play it, and let's get to it. You take your ring finger, and you're going to put it on the third fret of the D string. You're going to take your middle finger, put it on the second fret of the G string, and then you're going to take your index finger, and you're going to bar across the first fret of the B and the high E together like this. You're going to hold them both down, okay? It's a little tricky. You got to make sure these other fingers don't bump below it, and then you strum those bottom four strings. And that's an F major. If you lift your index finger off and only hit the first fret of the B and leave that high E open, that's gives you an F major 7. A lot of guys do that, or they'll play that without hitting the high E, but you really want to bar that. It's that nice F major sound. I typically do a bar chord. We're not getting into those today. They're in the next lesson, how to play bar chords. All right, so that's your F major chord. It's tough. You're going to use this muscle on your thumb back here quite a bit, getting that little miniature bar across those first two strings on that first fret there. But all right, and that's your open chords. Those are what we call open chords, because there's a lot of open strings being played with those chords, except for that F. So yeah, there you go. You've got the G. You got your G major, your C major, your D major, your E major, E minor, A major, A minor, and then your F major. All right, those are the open chords. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time when we talk about bar chords.